Hi, everyone. This is Vicki from It's Your Time, and this is my wonderful friend.
Donna.
There you go.
Yes,
She never
that's
picks
me.
it up. It's like she
I
just
have to
hasn't
think.
gotten it yet.
I wasn't sure when you want me to come in, so, uh, story of my life. Let's see.
So,
I
hey,
I
Donna,
we just play it by ear.
what's your time for?
It's your time to explore living in staying in 5D in a 3D world.
That
That's
sounds fascinating.
that's one topic anyway. And the other one has to do with, I forget now. Oh, yeah, the other one has to do with how we have to people have to rebuild themselves if they
Hmm.
awaken. They have to rebuild their identities sometimes.
Hmm.
So, and that's a big thing. That can be, I guess that's part of Dark Night of the Soul,
Yeah, yeah.
I guess. But anyway, but I had this idea. These things come to us and we just write them down, right? And that's what you do, only yours are a lot shorter than mine and more precise and
I'm a precise kind of gal.
probably more insightful. I don't know, but I had said there is no reason why we can't look at things from a human standpoint. We
Hmm.
are human after all. Well, I think I am. Although some people are finding out that they're not, but I am.
That's for a different podcast.
That's a whole other
That's for
thing.
a different.
And we could stay in 5D, in a 5D place within ourselves and live in a 3D world. We watch the news and we get angry, or and that lowers our vibration. And we, at that point, can't really send a lot of good unconditional love. We have to
It's hard.
reset ourselves. Yeah, it is. So if we don't watch the news, even though we know that there's stuff going on and people are suffering, if we don't watch it and don't engage and just send unconditional love, that's a good way to circumvent even entertaining, even, oh, it's a good way to circumvent the lower vibration. And it allows us to still be
Mhm,
loving. So, it comes down to stay in the calm, stay in the exhale. And it's not just the news, this is dealing with people that you really don't want to deal with. I mean, there's people in the world you don't want to deal with. There are, issues that happen that come up that you don't want to deal with. And how do you stay in that 5D? And I think, my biggest thing is meditation. I'm always saying meditation, but even just breath work will keep you there. And and you're not, it's not like 5D is not this other place. It's not like people think, oh, we're all going to change and we're not going to be 3D anymore. We're all going to be 5D. And that's really, I don't, this is my feeling that it's not a place. It is within us and it's how we react and how we
mhm,
grow.
mhm.
Do you have
Yeah,
anything to
it's
say
it's
about that?
it's it's a vibration. It's it's really just a state of mind, you know, and it's seeing what of those vibrate lower emotions you can tame and calm down, and so that you used to have a really low, but now, or a really high anger point, but now maybe your anger goes up a couple of notches and it comes back down, you know but your baseline is a lot higher than it used to be.
That's really great. That's true. And I do feel that within myself. And it's like when you look back and see how much you've grown,
Hmm.
then that what you're seeing is that you have a higher baseline. That's
Right.
very, very good.
And people rarely go back to see how much they've grown you know
Yeah, we really should. I mean, you really should do that because it's a way of being grateful. It's a way to be grateful for where
Hmm.
you are now.
Hmm.
And yeah, every so often you'll see those memes where people will say, not just, you created where you are. Like that sounds like pointing a finger almost.
Yeah, it does, and it's
But
yeah.
yeah, but if you are, remember this is what you asked for, this is what you wanted, 6 months ago, you are now there, that kind of thing. That's a good way to
And
feel grateful.
and what I was talking about the other day was learning how to embody compassion, because people can tell the truth. You know, the truth is the truth, and sometimes it's a harsh truth, sometimes it's a soft truth. And but you can, if you hold compassion, it doesn't have to be a harsh truth. It can be an uplifting truth. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, and if you are being compassionate, you will automatically think of less harsh words
Mm-hmm.
and speaking the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can make things humorous, bring things out. And I think what you're talking about was when we were speaking of how we can tell. We got together in case, you care. We got
If
together
you're
with
watching us, you must at some point.
but we got together with some of our Ann Tucker, the people that we met through Ann Tucker, and we had so many great conversations, and I learned so much more about some of the people that are in the group. That
Mhm.
it was a smaller group, so we could actually talk to each other and even across and down the table and everything, and it was great, and it was very insightful. But I think the thing that you were talking about having to do with that you can tell when people are lying.
No,
That
that was
you
you.
that was me?
Yeah, that was you.
Oh,
Because
I
I
thought that
can't tell. I
sounded.
don't care. I can't
Oh, okay, you don't care. Well, I don't either,
tell.
but there I don't know, there's I think that's a skill that we should, and like you said, unless you don't care. But I guess you don't deal with, as many people as I do because I have
Well,
to.
no, I don't. And
Yeah.
I set myself up so that I didn't have to.
Well, I've tried. I'm almost there.
You're
I'm almost
almost
there.
there.
I'm
But
almost there.
I retired early so I could get into this stuff.
You keep reminding me,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
So many
I
things.
want to be a role model for you.
You are. Oh, you are. That's true. That's very true. And yeah, I mean, not necessarily in
Well,
that way.
I didn't mean a role model. Don't take it that that deep.
I think you are. And we also talked about human design again, that which brought up the differences in us. And Candace is so sweet. She had so many good things to say about how we play off each other and our chemistry together and all of that. It was so cool. Everybody is so great. That we get together with. But yeah, that was, I guess it wasn't just me. It was, I'm not going to name other names because they
Right.
haven't been on the show. But I do have an idea, somebody that we may want to see if we could interview. I might be able to talk her into it, even though she doesn't really have any offerings, but she has some very good skills. So anyway, but talking about the idea that you can tell when people are lying, I've always been able to tell that people were nervous as they were talking. And then when I was older, I realized that that's probably what it meant, that they were being, not being truthful. But what we came down to is the conclusion we came to is being in 5D, we would rather have somebody say, like if you ask, are you doing anything on Friday? And this is on Monday, maybe. And the person says, well, not that I know of. So I'll go out with you unless something better comes along, and make it as a joke. And the first time this woman said this to me, I kind of felt hurt, but then it was a joke. And then I was like, well, she's so much younger than the other people. So I could understand her side of it. But then I thought, would you rather that she lie to you? And I was like, no, I think that's great. You should tell people those things. You should be more truthful as long as it's with compassion. Like
And
you,
there is a way to put it that there are no hurt feelings anywhere.
well, but you can't always tell how somebody's going to take
Well,
what
no,
you
but I
did.
mean, that's why if you embody compassion when you say it, compassion and humor, like, unless something better comes along,
Yeah.
and humor, that softens so many landings.
Oh, definitely. Humor always does. Always.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, you know, you have to use your judgment on what you're saying to someone, but
Mhm.
I have to cough again. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. I have a frog in my throat today. Well, I did channeling this morning that I don't know if it opened up something else because it was easier to do, but I think and you and I talked a lot before we got on here today, so maybe that's what it is. But anyway, so so that leads to, did you have anything else on that that you wanted to say?
No, I was just gonna bring up the life-changing incidences that can break you down so that you have to build yourself back up.
Oh, that the other topic, yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know even who said it, but somebody said something about if their identity is kind of folded because of certain life happenings. I thought that was an interesting way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Folded in.
And so we know a couple of them. I know there are, many, and people have life-changing events that are, too many to count, but I think a couple of the major, three of the major ones, let's start out with divorce.
A
We've
lot of
all
women
had them.
a lot of women our age are going through that right now, yeah.
Yeah. And I divorced, and I had to when I divorced, I moved states and had to start all over again from scratch pretty much,
Right.
and I'm pretty happy with where I am. It
Uh,
was a process.
well, yeah, it is, and I don't usually think of it anymore, and when I was going through it, I've been divorced twice, and the first time was after a marriage of, like, 23 years, and I married him very young, so it was like I don't even know how to explain, like, he was my second father, really, because he was 10 years older than me. And, well, my second husband was 10 years older than me too. I have
Hey,
older brothers,
you
so I
have a
guess that's
type.
yeah, I guess so. And, well, because the younger ones are so immature.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay.
Isn't that funny? Anyway, but yeah, I had to rebuild, and it's 2 things at once because you're grieving of the person that you were, and you're grieving letting go of things that you did together because,
Mhm,
even though even if it's a terrible, ordeal, if the divorce is very bitter,
mhm.
there are still things that you did together, and
Right,
these
right.
things are going to crop up for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you grieve the life that you had, even though it wasn't the best life, it was something that you knew.
Right, well, that's
Mhm,
true. That's very true. And it was a part of your identity.
mhm.
So then you have to move along and, set up your who am I?
And so many people lose friends in that kind of a transition. And all of a sudden you have these friends, and all of a sudden you don't have these friends, and you're all alone. And
That's true. That's very true. Although I had in my second divorce, we even talked about it when we were together that, who gets who because we with the friends that we had, who gets who if we get divorced kind of a thing. And this one lady had said, "Oh, I'd go with him." And, I've known him longer or something like that. And she was like, not I mean, I'd like you both, but if it was a choice, I'd have to go with him. And I was like, "That's cool." I had no, he'd known her so much longer. And then it turns out that she's friends with me and not with him now. So you never know. But again, that brings up these things will, like I said, come through all through your whole life, even if you have a new identity. Once you do have a new identity and a whole new life, when these memories come up, believe it or not, and they say time heals all wounds. It's true because you will look at these things in a different way.
yeah, I was going to say you have to kind of evolve and awaken to be able to look at things that way.
That's true.
Otherwise, you're still in the muck, and you can't see
Oh,
clearly when you're in the muck.
I didn't think of that. That Because the only people I know of that I talk about divorces or hear about divorces are awakened people, so that's a very good point. My ex, the last one, is not awakened, and he's still
Does he
really having a
grieve?
hard time. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, he does. He still, expects I'm gonna go back to Brooklyn or something. And when I say that to him, he's like, "No, I don't. I know you're not going to." But, it's just this idea that
He
I'm
still
still,
wishes.
yeah, and you're still my wife, even though you're my ex-wife. I'm like, okay, whatever. But anyway, so yeah, so divorce,
So
or
he has not grown as much as he could have.
no, he has not. And he knows it. He'll say that, "Oh, I know, I'm
Yeah.
my feet are stuck in the mud and I'm mired and I'm staying here." And I say, "Okay,
Mm.
that's fine."
That's what makes him happy
Well, no, it doesn't make him happy.
in his way.
He'll say, "No, I'm not happy at all." And he'll say that. "I'm just waiting to
But
die."
he's happy enough to stay there.
Well, yeah, that's what he'll say, "I'm just waiting to die." I'm like, "Well, why don't you make a new life for yourself? Why don't you?" "Well,
It's
I have a
it's
life."
it's too hard.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's it, right? That's a good answer right
Yeah.
there. So, yeah, and it's not just you aren't going to go through this only with divorce. If you are grieving a loved one that you loved and that person passes, like I did not have a lot of that in my life. I mean, my grandparents, when they passed, I didn't know them because we lived in a different
Mhm.
province. And I didn't until, I mean, my hamster, my dog, that was the first time. That was she she
But
was like,
yes.
I know people laugh, but
Well, no, but I'm
then
saying this in itself can cause somebody to fold in on themselves also as a loss of a beloved pet.
yes, it certainly did.
We didn't
It
add that one.
No, we didn't. There you go, loss. Well, we're talking about, losing,
Well,
grieving.
we're talking about losing our identities. But if that was the only thing you were, was your dog's mom.
Well, no, I was a lot more, but I wanted to
No, but I'm
continue
saying for
being a
people
dog.
who are,
Right,
they can
that's
lose their
right.
identity with that.
And there are people that are, cat lovers that have a lot of cats
Hmm.
and that sort of thing. Well, and with a dog, they say, "Oh, your dog died. Are you going to get another one?" It's like, well, I'll never get another one like that. Well, no, that's true. But I don't want to have to be responsible for anything except myself right now. So anyway, but the next thing that happened was my parents dying, and that was huge. That was very huge because I was always dad went first, and I was daddy's little girl, and so I wasn't daddy's little girl anymore. And then when my mom passed, one of my friends said, "Well, you're just like me now. You're an orphan." And I went, "I'm an orphan?" She said, "Well,
Yeah.
have you looked up the word? It means you don't have parents." And
So there
yeah,
are it's funny that you bring that up because that does really make you lose your identity when one of your parents goes,
it does.
because
It
you
shows,
become an orphan, you
right.
know.
That's right. Well, and it was eye-opening for me eventually once I mean, I still grieve, on and off. And I mean, I'm living in their house, so, they're everywhere in here, but I have made my own life, and this is now my house. So, because I've lived in so many places that, I've moved 11, 12, 13 times in my life. So 14 times. So yeah, so I've lived in a lot of places. So it is my house now. But anyway, but they're still here and I do grieve, but it's getting to be where I don't cry every time now.
That's because you've awakened to the knowing that they're still here.
They are still here.
Hmm.
And I talk to them and they talk to me sometimes. So
Hmm.
yes, I am. But it's still not the same. It's not the same as hugging
Well,
like
it
my
will
dad.
never be the same, but
Right.
it doesn't hurt as much because you come to it from a different place.
Exactly. That is correct. That's correct. But that is not as much of an identity losing event. I don't think as a divorce. But it did free me to realize, oh, now I don't have to be daddy's little girl. I don't have to be a good girl for my mom. I don't have to
Hmm.
be that person anymore. I can be who I want to be, and that opened up a lot for me, actually.
And did you actually know who you wanted to be at that point? Or did you
I
have
was
to find that
I
person?
was on my way there because my mom because I my mom and I were very close in many ways, and not that my dad and I weren't. It was just a different, it's a different relationship. But my mom and I were almost, I mean, she's always been my best friend my whole life. So almost everything that ever has happened to me, she knows about, or anything that I've done that I shouldn't have done, she knows about. When we had a lot of time at the end of her life, we had a lot of time to talk. So so I had kind of outed myself with everything to my mom pretty much. And but she was saying, "You are psychic. You should go pursue that." So, so I didn't have to, but that I don't even know what I'm trying to
I was
say.
gonna say, when you went down that road, was it because of your mom or was it because of something inside of you?
It was what was inside of me. It started when my dad passed because he came back to me. He came back to me and my brother the next day. We knew it was him that he flashed a light bulb in the china cabinet. And then when I connected with a medium who he came through. And then later my mom and dad came through. But anyway, so what was the question now?
Well, I just but because it just came to me that so many people become who their parents expect them to be without
Right.
knowing who they really want to be. Like
Okay.
when my mom was growing up, of course, it was a totally different time, but my grandmother always told my mother, that she had to be able to take care of herself. She had to have a career. She had 3 girls, and they each became what their mom wanted them to be, grandma. Grandma
Wow.
was very controlling.
Well, that's how it was back then
Yeah.
too, a
So
lot.
so my mom was a nurse, my aunt was a secretary, and my other aunt was a teacher.
Mm.
And if that was who they were supposed to be, I don't really know. But
Right,
that's
right.
why we have such an open field when we were growing up to become more of the person that we are drawn to be. Because otherwise you get stuck on that hamster wheel, you retire and you die
Well, I'm on
without
the
really
hamster
thinking
wheel.
about who you are. And that's the luxury that we have in this day and age.
Yes. Well, that's true, and my folks really kind of knew what they would help us develop our skills. And so after my dad passed, I think that's one of the things that happened is that he wanted me to pursue all of this. And so when I went to, read cards at the psychic fair, I was so nervous that first time around. Now when I see those people, I'm like, they're just not, you build your ideas of what these people are going to be or whatever, you know what I mean? Put them up on a pedestal. And now that I guess they're equal, I'm looking at them differently. Always with love because they help me so much and they're very loving people. But it opened the psychic side of it. And as I did that, I'm trying to remember what it was that really brought me out of it was, Time of the Sixth Sun. After my dad passed, that came out, and, and it grabbed me because it spoke, in language, in my verbiage that I use of how I look at the world and what I think of the world and how I've always wanted things to be different and what I would like them to be, and that there were other people out there that felt the same. And I was like, wait a minute, because I've always been told, oh, that's not realistic. Oh, you're Pollyanna, all of that sort of thing. So that's what really opened up the awakening. And then I started watching videos and things, and that really opened it up. But I, to answer your question, as far as my folks, I think because of when I was born, that there is always that idea of girls can only be nurses or teachers or secretaries, right? Well, my
Right, but
dad,
but there were a lot of women who, in my mom's day and age, their moms didn't tell them to have a career. Their moms wanted them to get married and be
um,
taken care of.
right? That
Mhm.
well, yeah, my mom was. She did that. But but I think that's broken a little bit. My dad told me, you can be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be anything that you want, but you really want to go with your skills. And like, what are my skills? Language, you should be a writer. So he kind of pushed it that way a little bit, or a musician because he was a musician. So, but I don't know. Nowadays, now for young people, there are vocational schools are really a push again.
Mhm.
That was in the 70s. Vocational schools were a push.
You know what I just thought of? One of the happiest, this is weird, one of the happiest jobs I ever had was being a waitress or working in fast food.
That's not weird. That's
No, but I
good.
mean, because those aren't jobs that are looked well upon,
Right,
because they're just menial service jobs. But it's hard to be unhappy when you're around happy people all day,
right.
and so it just kind of hit me that, they were crappy little, entry level jobs, but I was happiest because I had to deal with people. That's my human design.
Right. That's right.
I work off of other people.
That's right. So it brought
See,
you all
your
kinds of good
experience
energy.
at working at a place like that would be totally different than my experience.
And it was very different for me.
See what human
Because
design can show you? See?
yes, yeah, yeah, human design is really it's I think it's even almost I can't say it's better than, because I haven't had all readings and all the different astrology types, but
Mhm,
I think it tells you a lot more about yourself than
mhm.
yeah, it puts astrology and what, like the psychology and all kinds of things together. But yeah, that's true. And because when I'm around people, their energy just bombards me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I had to learn how I mean, all empaths have to do this. So if there are any other all empaths out there, you boundaries are a big thing, and they're a hard thing for empaths to use. You seem to be someone who had boundaries and knows exactly what they are and have always been that way.
Me?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I do.
yeah.
My mom used to be, growing up and you have your friends. And for the most part, she always liked my friends. But there was this one girl that I started hanging around. I liked her, but she, was a little on the more adventurous side. It was
I
when
knew that.
pot was becoming, a thing.
Ah,
Because,
mm,
I graduated in the 70s. So
yeah.
it's funny because I really liked my friend, but my mom was always so afraid that these people would drive me down, a bad path. But it's like I always knew what my limit was. I always knew what my boundary was. I
Hmm.
never worried.
Yeah, I worried because I had peer pressure to do some of these things, but yet deep inside I didn't want to. Like, I knew when it came to, drugs or sex or any of that stuff that not that I didn't want to do it. That's not true. Physiologically I did, but
You're
psychologically
killing me.
and socially
Yes, Donna.
pushed to do these things, but what the consequences were more in a forefront for me that would stop me from
Mm.
doing those things, and so many stories about that. I won't go into that, but but the consequences were always there, and so I would worry. Not worry like, oh my God, such and such. I would feel bad that I, had to turn people down, but it was like I had that boundary way back, and the same with drugs and things like that. I had that boundary. And then when I got divorced after the first husband in my 40s, that was when I tried all that stuff. Except I had to be responsible enough to get a job and have a drug test. So, you know, if there weren't
They
these
didn't
things
care
in
about
place,
alcohol.
well, no, well,
Those
that's
drug
the
tests
only
don't care about
I
alcohol.
know that's the only thing that I can well, some of them do a blood test so they can see in your blood because They
No,
can
but
see
I'm saying
alcohol as
alcohol
dangerous.
would never have stopped you from getting a job.
No,
No.
no, right. But I probably would have maybe tried other things. I may even have tried ayahuasca by now or something like that, some kind of psychedelic or something. But as a shaman, yeah, that's fine if you can do it, but as learning shamanism, you have to learn to do these things step by step by yourself. That's one thing that I've heard or learned. Anyway, so then the other way that you may be losing your identity and have to
You came back around.
yeah, I did. I'm really good at that.
I'm
I
proud of
know.
you.
Is if you have an empty nest, and this is
Yes.
mostly for women, but it does happen to men. It does. It's the same thing, and part of it is that you have to reconnect with your spouse after all these years when all of a sudden there are no kids around. That was so fun to watch my parents do when I had left. I mean, I would come back, I see them practically every week. We'd have dinner together, still.
They did not have much of an empty nest syndrome.
That's right. They
You
did.
wouldn't let
Well,
them.
they left home. They left home, and they've
They
done
had to
this.
get away from you.
Yes, they did. The first time they did it was when we moved from Canada to Michigan. They left two of my brothers up there, and my brother, who was closest in age to me, came with us, and he went back as soon as he was old enough. He was gone, and so they were stuck with me. But
That's
I
that's
mean,
that's how my one of my friends, her parents got rid of their kids. It's like they'd move somewhere. One would just be turning 18, they'd move, and
they'd
the one who
move, and
turned 18 had a life, so they stayed, and then it would go to excuse me while I mute.
oh, why are you muting your dog? Oh, arf, arf, arf. Okay.
So anyways, um
Poor
yeah,
puppy.
so say they would just keep leaving their kids places and they finally got to be alone.
But and that's then when my parents left. Well, I had gotten married the first time, but I was over there, all the time, over once a week. And then they sold that house and went off in their Airstream and ended up in Tucson. And then I followed them to Tucson. So I was very close with my
They
mom.
tried.
I well, but watching them get into the swing of just being together and how their roles reversed because my
Mhm.
dad took over the cooking, changed everything in the kitchen to where my mom didn't even know where anything
I was
was.
gonna say your mom probably told him he had to.
No, no, he just always when I was a kid, he would my mom if my mom went away and he had to make dinner, he would give us stuff like, foie gras and, duck à l'orange and all this stuff because he secretly wanted to be a chef. And,
Oh,
so he watched all those food he was a foodie like crazy. And he left some really good recipes, though. I've tried some of them pretty good. But anyway, but he just that was one of his things. He always just wanted to be a chef, so he took that over. But anyway, and they both shared cleaning the house and things like that. It was very sensible, some of it. But then, my mom never had a job. I mean, she did stuff here and there, but are you getting bored? You were like,
I'm fading.
you're fading. But anyway, but so then when my dad retired the second time, he retired from the Air Force, then he retired from he was a college professor. Then he had to find his identity, and then he had to find their identity together. But the empty nest thing, I think it happened more slowly. I think that was, anyway, that was another point we were talking about, that an empty nest is
Yes,
another time when you would
yes.
have to
Yeah,
rebuild
yeah,
yourself.
sometimes when you have an empty nest, you have a spouse that you have to re-get to know on a different level or remember from a different level.
From
And
years ago.
sometimes it causes a lot of divorces too, because you all of a sudden realize that really you don't like the person that you're married to
You
because you actually had to get to know them again, that kind of stuff.
Well, and maybe one grew one way and the other one didn't,
Mhm.
or yeah, and they just a lot of people stay together for the kids
Yeah.
too. Another, that's a
Mhm.
nice thing actually, but on one hand, I mean, if it's really bad, they shouldn't, but
Yeah, it depends. Yeah.
yeah. And then the last thing, which they say you're never supposed to talk about this,
But
but if you lose your religion, that's another, and talking to many people about this over the last week or so, everybody seems to think that that would be the toughest thing because this is a foundation you've had pretty much your whole life. And things are changing in many religions. And on the one hand, I feel very proud of people that love their religion and that it helps them. That I think that I haven't met many people like that, but the ones
yeah,
that I have, um, they're they're very they seem to be very loving people. Most loving people that I've ever met are people that don't believe in God at all, which is really interesting. That's a whole
that's
other thing.
because they come to it from an inner knowing, from an inner love that they find.
That's yeah, that's true. Which to me that's God, but
Mhm.
for them it's not. So, but atheists are, I think they're very mired in 3D, not mired in a bad way, but they're very adjusted, let's say. But anyway, but as far as religion, there are a lot of them, a lot of people are turning away from,
Yeah.
yeah,
I used to say spirituality doesn't need religion,
right.
but religion needs spirituality.
That's true. That's very
So
true.
if you're going to have a religion, it has to be incorporated with your own spirituality.
And that would be one that would work very well, I would think. Like growing up, I didn't really have a religion. My mom said we were Episcopalian. We were Anglican in Canada, but then when we moved to the US, it's Episcopalian. And unity, which I love the word unity and everything about it, but it's not really a religion, it's metaphysical, so it's not really a religion. But I'm talking about people that wake up and realize that the things that they have been told their whole life about religion are made up by men, I guess, and it's not what they were told.
Mhm. Or and this is happening a lot now because of the wokeness of it all. you know Nothing much stays hidden, and you realize that your religion has covered up some horrendous things. And it you know
Mm.
and people who are supposed to be godlike in their personal lives, because this is what they preach, it makes you lose faith.
Yeah. Well, but that would make hopefully wouldn't just make you lose faith in the people and make you, because I saw that when I was younger, and that did knock me for a loop when I realized they're just people. They're not gods like we're supposed to think they are.
Hmm.
And it all kind of fell apart. The whole idea of religion fell apart in my head. And the idea that who wrote the Bible and all of that, you could go into all of that stuff and watch Aaron Abke. He'll tell you all about it. He's really good at that stuff. But he is still a very spiritual and religious person, just doesn't,
Well,
have a,
is he religious or just spiritual?
well, I think of religious as he follows Jesus, so I guess that's religious.
See, to
Maybe
me,
it's
that
not.
is not religious.
That's not okay.
Now,
That's still
just because
spiritual.
was in the Bible doesn't mean that it makes it religious.
So okay, so what's your definition of religion?
Religion is the structure. It's a structure. It's got laws, it's got rules,
Okay, I think of religion as
and it's a hierarchy.
right, that exactly. Yeah, that I think everything is in 3D really until
Well,
you
yeah, and
wake
well, you
up
realize
and
that it
go to
doesn't have
unity.
to be.
Oh, definitely doesn't have to
Hmm.
be. But I've always thought that religion is for and I do not mean anything bad towards anyone in saying this. This is my opinion that
Mhm.
I came to, that religion is for those spiritual people, people that love God, who need to have that structure and need someone else to give it to them,
There
not
are people
someone.
like that, and they are perfectly happy.
They are.
Mhm.
And I just said that with compassion because I don't usually word it that way. I
Well, good
worded
for
it so much
you.
different. Yes, that's not usually how I
Yes,
say it. So,
it's we are all designed differently to to fill ourselves with different things that make us whole.
right.
Some
Well, and
people need the community of religion, the
that that
community that
is
it brings them.
that is one thing that is missing if you don't. That's why all these communities are popping up, like our community where we get together,
Mhm,
with the and people, or the community of online community of these,
mhm.
that's the
Yeah,
Cameron has, and
yeah,
Amelia.
people do need community
Yes.
in some form or another.
And that's what the New Light Connection thing is for today. The channel for this week is
Oh, really?
the word community. Yes, it is.
Oh, there you
There it is.
go.
It's popping up everywhere. But that's the only thing about religion that I I would miss. I mean, because
Mhm,
I I found that the people that go to church that need that structure were not my kind of people. Let's put it that way. So I see it as two things, religion and spirituality. That's how I see it. So if you're just spiritual, that means that you believe, you have a belief system
mhm.
that is more than just the 3D. I have to go to work every day and come home and
You know that
pay
you
my
are
bill.
divine. You know that you are part of the divine and that you
Exactly.
never die.
That's true. Yeah, that's a very basic way to put it. That's good. I like that. So, but yeah, but religion, it's like people, it was invented for, the conspiracy theories that you hear about it, I think are true. I think it's true. And like you look at, the St. Paul and how he really had a problem with women. I mean, he really did.
They were
But
men.
he was, I don't know, but anyway, and and all the different books, there are so many things that you can get out of it. You can still find wonderful things in the Bible. I
Mhm.
have, but I that was one thing my dad stressed with me, is that, Jesus didn't write this. It's written by men, and it wasn't written at the time, supposedly, although there, new things are coming out about it. So anyway,
The
but
Gospel
yeah,
of Mary.
yeah.
Ooh, she's got a
Who
gospel? Who knew?
yeah, who knew? And she's been channeled by a lot of people,
Yeah.
so but the idea that you have this lifelong foundation of religion and then it falls apart for whatever reason. Um, I would think, as a Catholic, if you went to the Vatican, I would think that would be enough to knock you off your socks, saying, "Okay, I've been giving these guys $1 a week, and this is what they bought with it?"
It is what they were told that they should do.
Yes, it is. Well, and I don't.
And if you think about, people being charitable, you can be charitable to the church,
You
you
can
know,
be you
and
can
it's
tithing is
just
a
the
good thing,
act. It's the act of being charitable
and I think tithing is a manifestation,
of the
um,
church.
well, I don't mean to the church, I just mean tithing
No,
in
no, but I
general.
mean, tithing is a manifestation of the church.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. That's true. That's very true. That is so true. Wow. Anyway, but what we're trying to get across is that it would be really hard to read. That would be the hardest identity rebuilding process, I would think.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it knocks down everything. They lose pretty much all their friends,
Well, yeah.
because they
Yeah.
don't understand them anymore, and they're,
That's a tough
that's
one.
that's very, very hard, your parents can disown you, your friends can disown you, and then you're stuck out there all by yourself, watching a lot of YouTube and listening to Aaron Abkey.
And Aaron Abke, yeah, there you go. But well, I watch a lot of other things, but what really blew me out of the water as far as religion, I think, was the idea that, who are we to say anything about what God thinks? God is, God is whatever he is, or she is, she, it, I don't want to say it, is to everyone. And, some people don't believe in God. That's cool. That's fine. But, just looking at, I mean, look at the things that are coming out. The telescopes are showing us how many trillions, billions of trillion. I don't even know what that is. Zagillion. I don't know what the word is for how many um, galaxies there are, constellations, the whole everything. I don't know. I guess it's galaxies. And, our galaxy is our 9 planets or 8 planets,
I was
whatever.
gonna say, don't forget Pluto.
Whatever. I would not forget Pluto. Pluto changed my life.
Pluto won't
A
ever
day
forget
ago.
you.
That's right. Oh, that was another thing I just want to mention really quickly. On Tuesday, what day was that? Tuesday, October. What was Tuesday? 14th? Wait, what's today? 20th.
That's the
Yeah,
13th,
October 14th.
14th.
At 3:33 in the morning that I woke up, and a couple other people I've spoken to woke up at 3:33 also.
I was one of them.
Yes, you were. And I think, well, I won't name names, but some of my friends. And when I posted this online in a couple of places on Facebook, what I saw and what I felt and what happened, there were a couple people who said I saw that exactly, and I was like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, sacred geometry and iridescent colors and a whole lot of, and I remembered on Saturday when we driving home and I was telling the ladies what I saw. I remember now that everything was so loud. I could hear everyone in the world in the collective was talking. All the music that could be played was being played at the same time. All the car horns were going off, all the city noises, all the airplanes. It was just like everything was a cacophony in my head. And I wasn't awake enough, but I was like, okay, if this is a dream, we need to stop. And it just kept going on and on, getting louder and louder. And then I heard my guide saying, Dawna, Dawna. And I woke up and I was like, turn it off. It's too loud. It was so loud. And then it was like a vacuum. I couldn't hear anything. It
Wow.
was so weird. That was so weird. And and then I could feel that they were there and I was like, are you asking if you can come back? That I never want you to shut up. It was all the other noise that was, making me crazy. And and I forget what the lesson was. I'll have to ask them. What was the lesson in that? Oh, that that to not be so open to the collective. Don't listen for it, because this is what, from now on, this is what you're going to hear if you really delve into it. This is what will come back to you at this just for now, for the next few days, they said. I didn't hear it again. I haven't heard it again, but anyway, there were so many beautiful things that I saw, and angels, and I should have written it all down. I didn't, but I did text it to you, so you have it somewhere.
Well, no, you didn't tell me all that stuff.
I didn't remember that until
Okay.
Saturday. Yeah, the other stuff. And another, I think I told you about that. I thought a dog was pulling on the
Yeah,
sheet,
I remember that.
waking me up. Yeah, that was, I don't know whose dog it was, but it was just like, you have those things happen maybe once a month or something. That's, at least I do, where I have a dream where there are angels and I wake up and, oh, that was beautiful. Or I wake up and see sacred geometry. Maybe like once a month, these certain things, one thing will happen. This was everything all in one night.
Wow.
Like,
Well,
just like Ebenezer Scrooge.
it's it's the energetics. It was, the
It was.
astrology, and there were portals open, and
It
that's
was Pluto. Pluto changed direction.
Oh, that's right. It started to go direct again, didn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
And it came back with a whole lot of shit, let me tell you.
Your your foot is one of them.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then I had a spider bite, then I tripped. Yeah, that's right. So I smudged the house because I don't, I don't necessarily believe in that kind of stuff, but who knows? So, better safe than sorry. So I smudged the house and my foot is better. And that's another thing that I could say is my foot is healing faster than it used to. My guides say because you're taking better care of yourself, but also because I'm centering my healing thoughts on it more. And yeah, it's really good. So don't fall, people. It was, oh my gosh, it was one of my neighbors said, I wish I'd have seen it. I would have made you a YouTube star. And I said, I'm already a YouTube star.
Oh, how funny.
Isn't that funny? He was like, oh, okay, whatever.
You didn't whip out, here, give me a pen, I'll write down our podcast. Yeah.
Oh, I've sent it to her. She already
Oh,
knows.
okay.
She already knows. Yeah. Yeah, we're not that big of stars, but I don't need to be a star. I'm just doing this because it's fun and I hope that it helps some people. And if they make it to the end of our podcast, I love you.
I love you more.
I think probably the only ones that go to the end of the podcast are the ones where I watch it and then I put it under another email address and I turn it on and I let it run while I go do something else so that we're trying to get more likes, more hits, more.
Oh.
So yeah. Yeah, I do. I do it under It's Your Time. I do it under mine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I do it. I
look
do
at
it.
you.
Yeah. So that reminds me. So if you are still here, if you are not subscribed, please click subscribe
Oh, and like us, that'd be nice. Even
and
if you
share.
don't, who
Yeah,
cares?
even if you don't. And any video that you watch, even if you only watch the first 10 seconds and you like a little bit of it, click like because it helps.
Because why
Not
not?
just ours, not
We
just
should have
ours,
done that in the very beginning.
anybody's.
Because anybody else who only liked us for 10 seconds are gone.
No. Oh yeah.
Oh, and I want to point out my
Your
newest creation,
swan.
Swan. It's following around Three Eye Atlas. It's Arctic
It's on
Swan.
three. Oh, the swan
Swan
comet.
is the comet that's hanging around Three Eye Atlas. There's my swan.
That's beautiful.
I
And
call it R2.
R2 as in R2D2?
No, R2 Swan.
R2
The
swan.
comet that's following Three Eye
Oh,
Atlas.
the swan is R2. Why do they have to put stuff
I
like that
don't
in?
know.
But the 3 is very important
Yes.
that in the three-eye atlas.
Yes.
It has 3 eyes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You're so smart. You
I am so
figured it
smart.
out. You are so smart. I love it.
I try to keep up.
And you do very well. You do. So I guess that we hit our list. All right.
Yes.
That's it. Oh my
Woohoo
goodness.
religion.
Well, there
Well,
are
you don't have to go into it. We talked.
there's a whole lot of good stuff about it too. Like
Yes.
you said, the social. I had a friend who would go to have ice cream socials and I didn't know what that was.
Oh,
And
see?
he was like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool, ice cream, I'll go." And then when I saw where it was, I was like, "Well."
It's
But
ice
then
cream is ice cream.
that's
It'll
what I
always
said.
taste good.
Ice cream is ice cream. That's what I said. But I had fun. And there are so many times that you think you're not going to have fun and you go and you have
Mhm.
fun
Yes, you do.
because we're fun people.
Lots of people are fun people once you give them a chance.
Well, that too. That's true. So it's your time to be a fun person.
It is your time to hit that like button.
Oh, it's your time to hit the like button? Okay. Aw, no, that's kind of cheesy. I'm just teasing you.
I am who I am.
And I'm sorry about the camera, guys. I thought I fixed it. Oh, well, maybe you can still see my mesa if I
Now
go
you're
like
making
that.
people nauseous. You
Oh,
wondered
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I did. I wondered if it would do
So
that.
don't make them nauseous now.
I was trying to show my mesa. It doesn't show my mesa. There better, maybe. Anyway,
Anyway,
and you can see the
we're leaving
background.
now.
All right. So thank you, everyone. We love you all. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yes, what she said. I'm with her. Bye.